Hey guys, welcome to Hari's Academy once again. In the last lecture on AWS Certified Solution Architect, we had learnt about cloud computing, basics of it, and also the benefits of it. Today we are going to learn about cloud computing technologies. Okay, so in cloud computing technologies, the major and very important topic is cloud virtualization. So virtualization is the main core and driving technology of cloud computing. That is the heart of it. Let's see with an example how cloud virtualization works. Okay, so let's move on to this. So we have a server of suppose 4 core, 100 GB and 8 GB of RAM. Supposingly we have more than one server of the same size. Okay, let me have it here. This is second server, and this is the third one, and this is the fourth one. So we have 4 servers, each of 4 core, 100 GB hard disk and 8 GB RAM. Now what virtualization does is, virtualization will be on top of these servers. What it does is, it makes us believe that we have a consolidation of all the storage. So it will be something around 16 core, 400 GB RAM for hard disk and 24 GB RAM. Though we have our individual servers have 4 core, 100 GB and 8 GB, still it makes us believe that we have the storage of this much. And that is where we will be able to create many virtual machines of our own size, which falls under this storage capacity. Okay, so what we'll do, if I want to create a virtual machine on top of it, so how virtualization helps is, I can create a big server which is of size 16 core, and suppose if I want to have 200 GB RAM, hard disk and 16 GB RAM, I can very well do it. Along with the same, I can also create some smaller virtual machine of smaller storage capacity, like 2 core, 50 GB hard disk and 4 GB RAM. I can create multiple systems like this. Till it falls under our storage capacity, I can create those many machines. Likewise, I can create multiple machines also here. So that is the beauty of virtualization. It will help us believe that we have this much of storage, and also it will also help us to create multiple servers of our own choice. So this way we are utilizing our entire space properly, and every person would feel like this is some dedicated space for me. This is a separate machine which is allocated to me. But in reality, it happens something different. We have only 4 servers, but we can create tons of or hundreds of servers here, which falls under the same capacity, making the people in disguise that this is something special to you. This is only a machine separated, dedicated for you, right? So that is the beauty of virtualization. Let's move on to another topic, which is service-oriented architecture. So in service-oriented architecture, every component is also called as service. So here we can make use of multiple services of the cloud service providers. So if I want to do some operation, like what exactly these services do is, these are all specific to perform a predefined work and which produces some result. Supposing if I want to take an example, I'll take an example of Poly, which is one of the machine learning service in AWS. What it does, it takes the natural language processing data and converts into text. So whatever handwritings which we have, it reads that image, converts it into text. And this is only chargeable based on the number of requests processed. So it will be like pay-per-use kind of model. And this is also called as highly cohesive and loosely coupled. So if you want to plug in any service, we can plug in. If you want to plug out of any service, we can do very well easily. And these are all cohesive. They can get glued with the services which you already have. So that is the best part of service-oriented architecture. Third thing is grid computing. So when we say grid computing, it is like we have a complex task. We want to break into smaller modules and take the help of different computing services to get the task done. So to be in a simpler way, what we can do, like if I want to do some operations on some machine learning operations I have to do, what it does in the same grid, if we have that particular, so I can give you an example here. Let me see with an example, that will be easier. Okay, so think that I have this as a grid computing, and this is our machine learning server. Likewise, I have a database which takes care of some other activity. Okay, and let's say we have one more supercomputer. Okay, this is a supercomputer. Okay, similarly, so there are like, this is something like it is in a grid. I can have one more computer for some other processing, one more server for other processing as well, right? So this is like, these are all present in a single grid, and whatever operations I want to perform, I can take the help, like splitting the task into smaller tasks, and then get the help of the resources which I have and get the work done, right? Suppose if I have some machine learning algorithms to be processed, I need some server with GPUs, and also I will go with that particular server and get the task done. That way, grid computing helps us a lot. Last one is utility computing. So this is like whatever you want to use, the services which you want to use, we use it as pay-per-use basis. Like suppose if I want to conduct a webinar of particular like 1 hour or 2 hours of time, so what I'll do is I'll rent that particular service, get the work done, pay for what I have used. So for 1 hour of service, I'll pay the amount. It's not like I'll buy a new software or do some things and all, right? So instead of doing that, what I'll do, I'll just try to rent that particular service, get the work done, and do the payment. So these are the 4 cloud computing technologies which we have. Now let's move on to cloud deployment models. Okay, let's discuss more about cloud computing models. So in cloud computing models, we have public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud. Okay, so the name itself says like public cloud. What does that mean? It is open to everyone. So anyone who wants to create their own services and all, they can use public cloud and get going. So private cloud is like specific to that particular institute or organization, and no one else can access it. Hybrid cloud is like having the benefits of both public as well as private cloud. We'll see more in detail of how public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud are differentiated at all, right? So the examples of public cloud are like AWS. Likewise, we have GCP, which is Google Cloud Platform, and Azure, it's of Microsoft. So when we say public cloud, it is like we have extensive services which can be used directly, right? And most of the people say like it is less secure when compared to other models. Okay, and security is one thing which is always a debatable question, because security is in public cloud, it is a managed service. It is not completely dependent on the cloud service providers. They give the level of security, and the person who manages it also is responsible to ensure the proper security is maintained here or not. So in public cloud, what happens is like anyone can access the services through internet. So today we are also going to learn more about AWS, and then we are going to see how AWS works and all. Then in private cloud, what happens is like the infrastructure, the hardware, everything will be specifically designed and installed in their particular institute or organization. In this way, what happens is like we have the benefit of the cloud virtualization, but the hardware is specific to that particular organization. So no one else can access the data. So this is always helpful when we want to have data stored which is like PHI data or PII data, which is personally identifiable information data, which they want to store, the highly confidential data. Everything, if they want to store it in, they use and go for private cloud. So one very good example for that is AWS GovCloud. So we'll see how GovCloud, what is GovCloud and all, right? We'll see an example of it. And the last one is hybrid cloud. Sometimes because public cloud has so many other options and private cloud is limited because of the hardware which it has. So that is the reason, to have benefits of both public and private, they go with the hybrid cloud. So part of the applications which are very much data confidential, they will have it in private cloud and the remaining will go under public cloud. So that way they get the benefit of both. Okay, now we'll see about private cloud, one example. Okay, so there are some common myths about security at cloud, because the first question whenever someone says about cloud is how secure is the cloud. So to show an example for that, we'll see what is AWS GovCloud. So AWS GovCloud is a private cloud which is specifically designed for US government and military services. So you can see that the kind of data they have, the confidential data they have hosted it on AWS. So that itself says how secure and how matured our cloud in the security wise. So the data which is there are different compliance requirements as well whenever they are having a private cloud. So the compliance requirement could be like the data should be in their particular land itself, that should follow some guidelines as like HIPAA guidelines, ITAR, FISMA and all. There are different guidelines which has to be followed. That is how they go for their own private cloud, wherein they have the hardware and everything set up in their particular organization, and they are going to utilize cloud virtualization techniques to get the benefit out of the cloud. That way private clouds are more benefited, and this is like a specific use case which we can say about private cloud. I hope you like this lecture. Thank you so much for watching. Let's meet in the next lecture. Till then, stay tuned. Bye bye.